Good morning everybody and welcome back to VeggiePlot. I'm down the end of the garden today. We're going to be planting out the dahlias, looking at the different types I've got and taking cuttings and so on. But I want to just explain a little bit about this area first. This is almost my favourite part of the garden. My favourite really is in the polytunnel. And it was all built at the same time several years ago, right at the beginning of lockdown, about 3 or so years ago. And the reason I love it is just surrounded by flowers of all types. We've got some lovely roses here, some lovely sweet peas behind you, sweet peas behind me. There are strawberries growing over there. And we're going to put in a lot of sunflowers that I'm growing as well between the sweet peas. So I really enjoy this part of the garden. It's calm, contemplative, and the perfumes sort of wafting around. It's just heavenly. There are several things you want to think about when growing dahlias. If you're new to dahlias, they don't like extreme cold, so they can't tolerate frost. And if you leave them in the ground and you suffer from hard winters with hard frosts and snows and things, the cold will probably get into the tubers and kill them. Here, this ground can get quite wet. We're at the bottom of the garden, absorbs a lot of moisture, and I think if I left them in the ground here, the tubers would rot. And so I lift all the tubers from here every year. What I do is, when I get to the first frost, just before I think they're going to happen, most of the flowering's over, I'll cut all the stems down to about 6 to 12 inches. So it's probably about 6 inches, to be honest. Put a label over the biggest stem, and I'll lift them, I'll get all the soil out, and I'll put them upside down for say a week or so. The reason for doing that is twofold really. If you wash them, if you wash the tubers to get the soil off, say in a tub or something, the stems, which are hollow, can accumulate lots of water, and if you don't turn them upside down when they're sort of clean to dry out and drip all that water out, that water can get into the tubers and rot them while they're in storage. So I'll flip them upside down for a week or maybe two, and then when they're sort of semi-dry, then they'll be in the polytunnel drying out. When they're semi-dry, I'll flip them back over so that the stems are pointing upright with the labels on, keep them in the polytunnel for another week or two until they're really dried out, and then I'll put them into a box and put them into sort of a cool area. So they'll go into a big plastic crate, all stems pointing up. I'll tell you why that is in a minute. And then I'll stuff in newspaper around the top, and then put them up in a cupboard just near our back door. So it just sort of keeps them cool, keeps them away from the frost. You don't want to let the frost get to them over winter. So the reason why you have the stalks going upright is A, to keep the labels on, but that's not the real reason. The main reason is because if you leave them in the place that you're storing, in the box that you're storing them, come the spring, if you haven't turned them the right way up, then they will start to shoot, and they might shoot before you've got them out of the box, out of storage. And so because your stem's pointing downwards, and the shoots and stems are phototropic, when they come out, the little shoots come out, they'll bend round and start growing up. So if your shoots are down, basically when you turn them the other way up, your old stems pointing the right way to the sky, and your new shoots and stems are pointing down into the soil, which you don't want, do you? Because they'll have to sort of grow back round. So make sure when you've dried them out and you put them into storage that you have the stems pointing upwards. So if they do sprout and you get new stems and you haven't seen them in storage, that they're all pointing to the sky. So that's a quick tip. Most people here in the sort of southern area of the UK, where I am, can probably plant out in the 2nd or 3rd week in May. But what I do is I get the tubers out a couple of weeks earlier or 3 weeks earlier, and I'll plant them up into large pots with some fresh compost and grow them on in the polytunnel. And what that does is it enables the tubers to start sending up new stems to start producing a bigger plant. And the reasons for that is A, because the weather is less likely to affect a sort of an established plant, and also slugs and snails can't completely demolish them. If you put out a fresh tuber into the ground, the new shoots that come up are just like a slug and snail attractor, and they can get totally wiped out really quickly. Now what I want to do is get the bigger dahlias at the back here. So we've got some, what are these? These are Penhill Dark Monarch. These were absolutely wonderful last year. So I'm going to have these spaced around at the back here. So that's the layout. I'm going to get on and plant them. If there are any that I notice that need trimming, I'll show you as I go. Well, actually this one here, you can see this is a My Love, the white cactus flower one, and you can see, I don't know, well hope you can see, but in the middle there a few weeks back I took the main stem tip out, and what that does is it encourages all these lateral shoots to form from where the leaves come out from the stem. You get all these lateral shoots, and then these will all flower as well, and this is how you increase your flowers on your plant, by taking the main tip out. See, on this one, this is a blackjack, so once they're in the ground I shall take the tips out, and then we'll be able to pot them on and try and grow some extra plants from next year from the cuttings. So this is Dahlia My Love, one of the white ones. I'm just going to pop that out. You can see they've been in here quite a while, and the roots have got quite tight in the root ball, so I'm just going to have to loosen these up a little bit just to make sure that they start looking elsewhere for food and get themselves into the soil. Right, dig a hole, put them in. What I need to do now, once I've watered them in and fed them, and try and get some mulch on the ground to keep the moisture in, is we're just going to go around and snip off all the flowers, like these pom-pom snowflakes have started to flower. So I want to take the tips out of them, take the flowers off to encourage more lateral shoots. And this is what I mean here with this pom-pom snowflake. You can see that the main stem has gone all the way up and has started to flower, and it's all far too early. So if I count up sort of 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of leaves, and if we nip off the top, now I know this isn't comfortable, but we're going to do it. I can go down up in a little vase at home, but just wanted to show you that these little side shoots here are already shooting, and so this will encourage this to send out many more shoots and more flowers. I've already done that one in there. And this one over the back I might take because it's got a little flower on it, and nip that off. And this one over here, that one. So as before, if I count up say 3 or 4 sets of leaves, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll take out the growing tip just above the leaves, and I'll just put this straight into water as quick as possible. Same on this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, snip that out. Take this one, put this into water as well. This is a My Love, I think. So that's been done. It's been done. That's been done. This main one's been done here. Right, I think that's it. Let me just come back and show you. I don't know if you can see on here, but some of these stems are hollow. I don't know if you can see that. Just on the end, the actual stem's hollow. And I believe it's much harder, if impossible almost, to get those to root. I'll take them anyway. But these, which I took from the Bella Balmira over there, I think, or Cafe au Lait, are solid on the end, you see. And so these, it will be possible to take cuttings from. I've got some multi-purpose compost here. A bit of grit mixed in, not much because I haven't got much actually, so it doesn't look very gritty, but if you do, you want to add a little bit of horticultural grit to it just to improve the drainage for the cuttings. Then I'm going to give each one of these a little bit of water beforehand, so there's a bit of moisture in the compost. And we'll water them again once we put the cuttings in anyway. So I've got my knife, and what we want to do with this cutting is we want to make sure we take a cut just below where the leaves come off the stem. So if I just do that down here, I can show you. Just slice through, so that's as close to the leaves as possible. And then I want to take these leaves off as close as possible to the stem. So one, just slice through them quickly, gently with a sharp knife. So I've taken those off. Now we don't want these on either, these next two, so I'm going to take them off. One, two. So you see I've taken 4 leaves off so far. I'm going to leave the next 2, but I'm going to cut them so there's not as much leaf. So basically that's to do with the amount of moisture that's lost through the leaves from the cutting. And if we don't take off most of the leaf, the moisture will be lost very quickly before the cutting has a chance to root. So now I've taken that. What I want to do now is find my rooting hormone powder. I know some people don't use this, but I do. You can get it in, anywhere, get it online, get it in your local garden centre. It's just a white powder. Take the cutting, and because it's wet, or we can dampen it again in this water, shake off the extra, and then just mix it around in the rooting hormone powder, and so it sticks to the actual cutting. And I think what it is that most of when things root, when these dahlia cuttings root, they actually have a natural tendency to root from where the leaves join the stem. And so by coating it all in there, it just encourages it to root from those positions where we cut the leaves off. Now I need a little dibber, so I've got a little bit of cane down here. So I'm just going to make a little hole in the corner, not all the way down to the bottom of the pot, just a little hole in the corner against the edge of the pot, and then slide the cutting in until it touches the bottom, and then with the dibber just gently firm in the compost around the edge of the cutting, so you can see it's just firmed in. Right, so there you can see we've got all 5 of this particular dahlia done. Now as you can see I haven't trimmed these yet, so I've got some scissors as well. And so what I'm going to do is just cut these leaves in half. And that just reduces the transpiration rate from the leaves. And they don't need all this leaf. Okay. There we go, tidied up. Right, that's got all the cuttings done. We ended up with 35, can you believe it? I'm not sure all 35 will take, but even if we get 5, it's 5 free plants, so I can't complain at that, can I? So I've watered them in just to bed them down. And then all we need to do now is put these lovely covers on. And what these will do is help to keep moisture and heat in around the cuttings. And that will help to encourage the rooting and also prevent them from drying out. But you must keep, if you do get them, get some with vents so that you can open the vents. If they get too damp in here, they can sort of dampen off and can rot off. If they do, just pull them out and throw them away. It does happen quite regularly, if you plant lots of them. Don't know what your success rate would be, but mine, we'll see. Okay, as usual, if you've got something from the video, if you liked it, please do like, subscribe, and click the bell button, and that'll send you notifications when the next video is. Not sure what it's going to be. Might be up the allotment, might be in the polytunnel, the greenhouse. Okay, that's all for today. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.